We need to put some holdo maneuvers in.
This is where the fun begins.
Well, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Holdo Maneuver podcast, where we talk about episode 4 of the Acolyte, entitled Day.
Oh.
Not Day Man.
Okay.
And with us today from ShinyPlasticPeople, Chris Plastic, everybody.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Yeah, there you go. That's the correct response. Which I think, Chris, you said you had a question before we started recording that you wanted to ask us.
You did. I did. What was Yoda doing during the Acolyte time period?
His taxes.
Tying his shoes.
Yaddle.
Probably was.
I mean that is how you grow goo. Anyways. Anyways. Yeah. So welcome, Chris. Welcome to the Hold the Maneuver podcast. I guess, what did you think of the episode? We'll kind of just go there, get a general idea of overall arching.
I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit slower paced after last week, but I'm still really enjoying this ride.
Nice.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Been good so far, except for one thing, and we'll talk about it in this episode.
Might get a clue of it by looking at Mike's little subtext.
I mean, I don't hide it.
Yeah.
It's a spoiler, so
yeah.
I suppose.
I enjoyed it. I think it's definitely, what is it? Probably the shortest live action.
It did feel short.
Wars. Yeah, it was 27 minutes,
episode.
Including the previous on, including the credits. So, but for anyone that was like, oh man, you ended it there. That's how week-to-week TV is supposed to work. It's supposed to want you coming back for
leave
more.
You wanting more.
Because if it didn't, you want to come back.
That's right.
At least if you have good faith takes on.
No, they come back every week. Those who don't, if you've noticed, even how those who hate this stuff come back every week just to complain about it.
I just want to know how he got that smile.
Want to know how I got these scars?
Why is he so serial? Because he went to Andor. Anyways, so this episode was, like we said, called a day. It was a brisk yet tantalizing installment that leaves us on the edge of our seats, yearning for more as the final moments hit. And the actual premise of it was racing to the next target. The Jedi head to a new world as they close in on the clever assassin. Then this episode was...
They didn't really race. They kind of took their time.
It was like the fellowship of the Acolyte. There's even those shots of them all walking across the mountainside in single file to hide their numbers.
Being led by their brave otter tracker.
Yeah.
Otter tracker.
Basil in position.
Basil exposition.
No, this one is Basil in position. It's his brother.
It's the implications.
Yeah.
Whatever
because of the implications. Yeah. But they were, showing them along the path there. This episode was directed by Alex Garcia Lopez, written by Claire Cashel and Cor Adana. And then so it takes us to Kofar, the forest retreat of the reclusive Wookiee Jedi Kelnaka. And then we learn that Kelnaka has distanced himself from the Jedi Order, choosing a life of solitude akin to a Jedi version of Henry David Thoreau's Walden.
Henry David Thoreau.
That's right. dropping some Henry David Thoreau references for you in this whole maneuver episode. So his serene existence is shattered as both the Jedi and their dark counterparts converge on his location. So there, now, even though this was like we said, like maybe just under 30 minutes long, what were some of the standout scenes or like character moments for you within this? Chris, since you're our guest, we'll go with you first.
One thing I kind of want to touch on was you're trying so desperately to be stern with Osha about her weapon. Those things, and he just was not getting anywhere.
Yeah, it's the one thing that stood out. I didn't really. The Basil thing was interesting, but it came off cartoonish to me. Like, it's cool they've used like a different alien species to help, but it just came off as cartoonish.
If his name was Ryan, he'd be utterly invincible. Yeah, that's a lame one. I'm sorry.
There are no lame ones here. And then part of me wondered, like, I know it's not the same. In Obi-Wan, Zach Braff plays someone loyal to the Empire. I was like, is that the same species as that? But then I was like, the more I thought about it, I was wrong. But that's where my mind went first when I saw that.
Oh yeah, he looked more like an anteater a little bit in that one. I think I remember.
Yeah, there was something. The noses were different, and I realized that later. But that was like one of my first thoughts. So it's like, oh, is that the same species?
Yeah, I know. Like in this too, like you're saying there with Yord and Osha. I liked how like there was a little bit of like humor there too, where like after he gave his kind of like spiel, and then calls her citizen. She was like, "Oh no, that was very good. No, I don't have any questions at all because he covered everything." And I kind of like that the friendship there with her. And I keep forgetting Daphne Keene's character's name.
Weapon 23.
Yeah, Jackie or
Jackie.
Yeah, it's like Jackie.
Oh yeah. Because I just want to say Kevin Smith's dog's name that he used to have, Shecky, but I know that it sounds similar enough. But yeah, like I like that kind of friendship, or maybe more. That's kind of like budding between Jackie and Osha there too, and just kind of like making jokes back and forth about how like serious Yord is at like giving this whole thing here. And it's funny that like he's being that like dismiss. Not I don't think dismissive is the right word, but like with the way that he's communicating with Osha there too, like when they've known each other so long, but he's just like calling her citizen and stuff, and like being very, very very professional, like about just showing more of like what we've kind of seen of like his personality from the past few episodes, where he's like, what is it like?
He's way into the code.
Yeah, he's like steaming his robes, and he is very particular about the way like he lifts his robe when he's sitting up.
He's down the line, matter of fact, by the book.
Yeah.
Well, it's also interesting because before this, we've never seen Padawans interact with other Padawans, have we?
I don't think so.
Well, yeah, because Yord's Padawan has not gone on to any of these adventures since that initial arrest of Osha.
So now you have this like cadre of 3 of them who were together when they were initial training. I feel like Yord was there with the other 2, if I'm getting that right.
Yeah, I believe so.
So it's a different aspect of the Jedi training that has never been fully portrayed.
Yeah. Yeah, like so the other thing too here is like we can talk about Kelnaka a little bit, because I know Mike wants some justice for Kelnaka, which spoiler alert for what we'll eventually get to in the episode with Kelnaka, but I do believe we're going to see Kelnaka again, because there was stuff in trailers.
Yeah, there's a trailer where he's jumping with a lightsaber.
Yeah, so we will see some Kelnaka lightsaber action. Yes, phrasing. But
Only up
I
and
thought
down.
I thought it was interesting. They had some of those shots that like really zeroed in on like the symbols that were decorating his stone home. They're on that planet that looked very similar to like the Anusea coven. They did a really good job to make sure that like you focused on and saw those on his wall there. So
They took some time to make sure you saw them.
Oh yeah.
yeah, and some of them looked like actually like straight up just looked like yin yang symbols too, which I thought was kind of interesting and I guess a little less subtle about the whole light side, dark side, yin and yang of it all. It's just I really want to know like what happened that night that we didn't see yet. That's like haunting
Everyone
them.
but Soul.
Well, it seems like yeah, because he said he was at peace with what happened, I guess, and then he told Osha that he was like after, which seems like famous last words. Like after this, I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah, he's not getting back to the ship after that comment.
Yeah, so. But yeah, like what happened where like someone was willing to take poison to off themselves, carry on.
Was literally
carrying them
willing
off.
to just be like, you can stab me. I'm gonna save this person, and just you can stab me.
Yeah, I'll just just the little tiny knife right here. They'll take me out.
Right,
but-
we need to see Kelnaka deliver that scar to Torben.
Yeah. Like how did that happen? Like what happened that like what like and I don't know if we're gonna see it next episode because it seems like next episode's gonna like pick up right where this one ended.
Or will it?
Maybe not.
We might have a rebellion on our hands if it doesn't.
I mean, I don't want to focus too much on it because it's not worth focusing on. But like, we already kind of do have like the bad faith contingent that is a quote unquote rebellion. Like, we can kind of touch on it really quick. Like Ki-Adi-Mundi was in this episode, young Ki-Adi-Mundi, which the way you can tell that he's younger is that his beard is less white and more gray.
Isn't his head shorter?
Maybe.
It looks shorter to me.
I've actually already had this debate today, just before coming on, because somebody's like, why would he say that it's been a millennium? Because they're keeping it under wraps.
And also in that scene, there's never something explicitly said about there being any kind of Sith or anything with that.
Have they even said the word Sith in this series?
They have not.
And I don't even think that there's necessarily Sith in this. It could just be dark side users that aren't necessarily Sith.
Now, I don't think it's the case, but for all we know, we're looking at a member of the Knights of Ren.
But, his helmet. His helmet's very similar to. I mean, it could be interesting if they try to connect it from like way back here, in the High Republic to what would that be like, almost 200 years later between like the couple 30-year jumps and 20-year jumps in between there. Feels like.
Right. I think one thing we get kind of hung up on, unfortunately, with Star Wars is we only see Sith and Jedi. We forget about the Night Sisters. We forget about all these other different groups and faiths of the Force in the universe.
And Rogue One.
Yeah. Even in Rebels, oh
yeah,
the old Lasat woman talking about the Ashla and the Bogan.
Yeah. Just like with how like there's all these different elements of the Force and how people view it differently, and then like even Ahsoka, not like herself, not even being like I am no Jedi, with like she kind of like she uses the Force and she would almost be like would almost make her like what, like an agnostic Jedi in a way.
Right. I'm actually hoping that she's kind of building her own kind of new order wherever she is.
Yeah, I think that could be interesting. But I like how they've been kind of playing with that in the show too, like where you have these Jedi of this time where, like Yord, where they're like very, strict and by the book, but then you also have like the thing with like I'm gonna call her Vernesha, with like how they're being like so secretive about wanting to keep all of like this whole like thing under wraps, which just seems like a bad idea to begin with.
Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
And to me, it just keeps playing like what we see the Jedi in all the films and all that we know. This is like something that happened that made them the way they are. Like they learned from this series of mistakes and changed their philosophy.
Sure.
Right. Someone came in and really dogmatic up the Jedi further to be so much stricter from this point. And I mean, we're already seeing a generational change in our characters. We'll look at the characters like Saul and Inara, who were hesitant to take their lightsabers, where you see the younger Jedi immediately pulling and igniting.
Yeah,
this is like it's like a learning experience for this order. I still am waiting for that last scene where they walk in and Yoda's at the desk. Okay, what did we learn? What are we not going to do?
We'll see.
Except Yoda in the book is kind of one of the first people to be in the order to be like, so how about we not tell anybody about this?
That fits. Because
he is the politician.
Well, I think that fits though too, because like with what we see of him in the prequels, like he doesn't really like, I guess, like learn that lesson until more or less the end of Revenge of the Sith. Where it's like, oh crap, we effed up. We since I effed up so bad, we have to go into exile. Yeah, that's my bad. So sorry.
Don't find me
for over a century.
I'll find you. Don't worry about it.
I'll just be hanging out on this planet in the swamp, going crazy. But it's all good. Speaking of people going crazy, we have Mae and Kimar, who are also headed to Kofar there with the intent to kill Kilnaka. They want to kill Naka. However, the true nature of Mae's mission and her loyalties comes into question as like the episode progresses there too. So like we get a little bit more with Kimar and Mae's interaction in this episode too. And it feels like it's blatantly obvious that Kimar is, like the dark side user that we've seen in the.
I mean, I feel like that's why it won't be him.
Yeah, it feels so obvious that like I'd be disappointed if he is.
Or that like maybe that's not the twist. Like, oh yeah, we wanted you to think that that's who it was, but also, and then there's like some other thing there that's going on.
Somehow Palpatine returns.
Somehow. But yeah, but I'm really enjoying like how Manny Jacinto is playing that too. Like how it's almost like the Christopher Reeve, Clark Kent, Superman, like particularly kind of his portrayal, because he really leans into the like clumsy, like oafish version of Clark when he's Clark, and then if Kimar is like this dark side user, and then like how masterful he is that like we saw what he did, like just did that flick to get Osh out of there.
Funny.
And then like he just like freaking force blasted all of those Jedi at the same time, like in the basically did what made it to the sand, but to people. Just like how he's like all bumbling and falling over his words. You can hear like how but like you can see like how he's kind of like playing like her up a little bit and like trying to lead her down a certain path to like what she needs to do. Be like, oh, you're trying to do that. Like when she has like this change of heart where she's like, oh, I'm not gonna do this anymore because OSHA's alive, so why should I
Which
keep
was
doing this
interesting
bad stuff?
because OSHA was like, Mae's on her own, peace out. And it just like goes how they did that dynamic. And then we had that flashback where obviously it must have been OSHA's point of view where Mae was played up to be this like serial killer-esque child.
Yeah.
Right. Because, Mae hasn't had the story of OSHA destroying her life for the last, how many ever years? I know it told us in the previous episode.
16,
but
I think it was.
16, where now, she doesn't have that same reference. Like, oh, by the way, OSHA killed everyone you loved and everything you knew. You just thought she was dead and whatever.
It's true. It's true. It's true. It's true. But yeah, that would be interesting to see, like, if they kind of flip, because there was that whole thing that we're like the perspective of the show was supposed to be like from the dark side like users point of view for it, which at least so far it hasn't really felt like that, because it's felt more like it's like Saul and OSHA and like the whole like, and not even the Jedi Council, but like this group of Jedi like trying to do this particular mission to take out Mae. And
it's actually interesting this week, I think, how actually we kind of learned that the High Council maybe has no idea whatsoever what's going on.
Yeah.
We have like this kind of low council taking care of things.
Yeah, they're definitely hiding it from someone. Maybe it's the High Council. And it's interesting you say it's supposed to be from the perspective of the dark side user. And it kind of, in my mind, sheds light why the Jedi are being shown as bumbling almost.
Yeah, I mean, it could be good.
No, I was going to say, just because that'd be their perspective is, oh, look how much more powerful they are. They don't even touch their lightsaber. How easy they are to kill situations.
Which another thing that I thought was interesting here too is like back here during like the High Republic, like how busy the Jedi Temple was, whereas like the hallways are like packed with people, like where like OSHA's got to like yell across the hallway to get someone's attention, and that, whereas like what we remember from like the prequels is there's like maybe Obi-Wan and like Anakin walking through the hallway at one point, and other than that, like no one else is there. It just seems like, which I just think that's kind of like an interesting thing too, is like, I don't know if that's necessarily like the Jedi just cutting off people coming into the temple after a certain period of time, after maybe like what happens in this show, or like it being like the Jedi Temple becomes, to I guess put it in like like Disney parks kind of terms, like the Jedi Temple is now Club 33. You can only get in there like if you know somebody, if you got special access or money or whatnot.
If that's the whole almost premise of the prequels in a way, that's they're so selective.
You just popped kind of an idea in my head. If this is told from the point of view of the dark side, as they said, and it seems like we're seeing it from the side of the Jedi, what if we are following a dark side, which I know has been a theory, but it's someone who barely squeaked into the Jedi Order, and they tighten up the rules, and that's why we see so much fewer in the future.
Right. It definitely feels like the Jedi changed their methodology on things based on this series, like the events of this series.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. Like,
till death till they part. So like speaking of Jedi, like so Saul and his fellow Jedi are also like en route to Kofar, aiming to warn Kilnaka and possibly apprehend Mae there. And their journey includes like this deadly encounter with a native Umbra moth, which during that scene, like I just got alien like face hugger egg vibes, just because of like it just looks like these moist, like fungusy things on these trees that they're walking by.
And
I was
you
just
knew
waiting for them
someone
to
was gonna
attach to
wake one
someone's
of them up.
face. Yeah.
Well, they had to.
Yeah.
You don't show the gun if you're not going to use it.
Yeah, it's true. And then like from this scene too, like Osha has the whole conversation with Saul, like about with like how she had felt like their presence there at first, but didn't like. I thought that was interesting, like where she said, like I felt like where she's starting to feel like more attuned to the Force again. It seems like almost like how like what like Obi-Wan was happening with him on the Kenobi series, where like he was like rusty with like his use of tapping into the Force on that at first, but then after he had been back at it for a few days, like he was able to do a few things a little bit better. So it's almost like now that Osha's like back around a lot of these Force users and stuff she's kind of more familiar with from that, she's starting to kind of tap into it again. And we've had a lot of like more recently, like in years, like characters or at least Force users that are very nature attuned, like between like Ezra and Rebels, or Ahsoka a bit has as well. But we also I don't think that Rey was that connected with. Do you guys recall if like Rey was that connected?
There was a
with
little
nature?
bit with the snake
Oh,
in
yeah.
Rise of Skywalker.
That's true.
I kind of wonder if Kofar isn't maybe strong with the Force, not unlike a Dagobah, and that might be also boosting her abilities. Or at least maybe it's coming together the more near her objective she gets.
That's the joke we should have done at the beginning of the episode. After you go to the Jedi optometrist, are you Kofar sighted or near sighted?
There you go.
There's another one.
It's also
For
I
all
did
of us
the-
wearing glasses in this episode.
I'm Conir.
Yeah. Kofar.
Kofar?
Yeah.
Conir! That's a joke for the YouTube channel, if you're listening to this.
Yeah, that doesn't. Well, it kind of works in audio because you were farther away from the mic.
Sure.
It picks up in the audio mix there.
I mean, she also could be getting. If there's another theory of that, there was one child that the mother split into two, so when they get closer together, they're like their power gets amplified because it's joining
the
in a
Force
way.
dyad.
Right. I could
People
definitely
think,
see that, especially with the Coven's, the power of two.
The power
Right.
of many. Yeah, that could be. I'm very curious. Like, because I wonder if like they meant to just create one life, and then like the Force is like, nah, you can't just have all be like one side of the Force. We gotta,
I don't know. I think with their belief system, I think two was the desired outcome.
Yeah.
That's true too. Man, I just want to see that flashback.
I mean, honestly, that could be the unholy thing they did was split this being, thus also protecting the sanctity of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah,
I mean, it very well could be that these Jedi stationed there knew what they were doing and then decided to meddle, and they're the ones who made twins.
Yeah, and like in this too, like this whole episode is like it's kind of setting the stage for like a showdown between the Jedi and Mae in this, where like Saul's again trying to convince the rest of the Jedi with him. He's like, can we like just talk to her first? With like, you guys don't need to just like whip the lightsaber out. And in some people's cases, I know there's actually a whip lightsaber that will probably show up in the next episode. Because he's trying to, because like he has that connection to Osha, but he also wants to save her twin sister Mae, because they also feel like he feels like partially responsible that like he was only able to save Osha.
Well, yeah, he's like, I saw her fall. I knew. I didn't.
Yeah, like so.
There's definitely something to Saul. Saul, it seems like a character we want to like so badly that there's got to be a reason we won't.
Right.
Yeah. Better Call Saul.
Only he knows.
Yeah. Now, so some of the other things like that, I know, like I kind of talked about a little bit, like the Osha and Jeki stuff. I'm enjoying that kind of like building relationship there with those two, and like Osha's kind of grappling with her past and feelings towards May, like you brought up, Mike, like where she's kind of like, no, that's not my problem anymore. That's the Jedi's problem. But
Which
Osha,
it's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Just because like it leads to the mystery of what really happened at like that bogus flashback we had. Like what's the truth?
Also, can she really be over it, considering May was the thing, the loss of her family was the thing that led her to fail as a Jedi? And now she's like,
Yeah. Trying to run.
Yeah. And then like we get that interaction between Saul and Vernestra, where like Saul's determined to save May because he has like that little glimmer of hope for her redemption, because he knows that since she still loves Osha, as because they're sisters, but Vernestra has like a reluctance to involve the Jedi Council, and is like kind of like highlighting this like internal politics and secrecy that basically, like we've been saying, it's like in her shadow that orders eventual downfall there. And I know from book readers that have like joined us, like another kind of past live shows. Like I know Vernestra is a character that has shown up in the books before. Like she's much younger in the books there, but she's apparently like
she's old
white. She's older than she's supposed to be like a teenager, I guess. Like in the books that she's like appeared in already, whereas like here seems like she's closer to like maybe late 30s or
right.
40s.
She was
in relation to like human years.
The youngest ever Jedi to be knighted in the books. It's from what I'm picking up from the rest of Star Wars YouTube right now.
Yeah, and like she's just apparently very like almost much different than she is as the younger, which I guess, I mean, most of us are much different people than the younger versions of ourselves were. So apparently she's like probably seen some stuff between her her teen years and however old she's supposed to be now at this point. So
she buried it well.
So as I understand it, she lost her master and her Padawan in roughly the same event, and she became a Wayfinder, which the role of which is to follow the will of the Force, not necessarily the order, but what the Force commands. Which almost makes me wonder if her meddling here isn't the will of the Force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm curious to like keep watching her to see like what all is going on with her as well too.
Mm-hmm. It's what this series has built a lot of intrigue and made a lot of questions for about the Force and what's going on for those who aren't as well read into it. For me specifically, it's just like it makes you want to learn more about what's going on, makes you want to dive into like try to understand it.
Well, and the thing a lot of naysayers I think are missing is this is not the Jedi Order we met in the prequels.
Right.
Yeah.
Or heard legend of. This is something different. It's a different beast. It has different rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my take on it, and I've never soured on anything for it. Like I've been digging what they're laying down, and then I see all the hate and stuff. I was like, I just don't see it. I don't get it. It's like it just makes me want to learn more. So
it's true. Now, what do we think about Darth Bortles, as we've affectionately called him?
One thing I want to point out, if I'm remembering this right, I meant to rewatch the episode, but I was just on Lanterns Live. Check that out. I'm talking Green Lanterns with Ralph.
Everybody check out Ralph's Lanterns Live.
When he draws his blade and shows himself, he could be they. I think Saul was the first to ignite his blade, which is very interesting considering his reluctance earlier in the series.
Yeah, he was the first, and then everyone followed suit.
And I didn't even catch it on the first watch, but rewatching that scene, I didn't realize he's like, or they are slowly.
Oh yeah,
seemingly
just
like floating.
Yeah, they
sliding
down.
into frame behind. Yeah,
which if it is Kimura, I guess that's how he got out of that rope trap. He's just like, bloop.
I will admit, it as that was happening, I was holding back the urge on the first watch of going ghost.
That's the second ghost reference Mike and I had tonight.
Right.
But just as long as the ghost believes in themselves,
right. They have to.
But yeah, just as long as there's not 400, and because we cannot fight them all. But yeah, like I'm sure. I don't know if we'll find out next week. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. But
maybe we'll never find out.
And
maybe
if
it's MacGuffin to keep us going.
Maybe. And if it is Manny Jacinto, I hope that it's not played as like a huge reveal. Just like you like we already knew you guys would know that it was him, so it's like here he is. But that I think because it seems so obvious that there's got to be like another layer to it where he's like,
maybe Manny Jacinto's his Keira Knightley, like the decoy.
Or check this out, yo. No, don't follow that.
You get
a lot of people have picked this up. I thought it was a clever idea last night, but everybody this morning's on it that he's the apprentice, not the master. But what if Soul is the master and he's actually trying to get May to find out the plot that his apprentice has against him?
Entirely possible. Entirely possible. Anything's possible.
Wouldn't that be like a mind F? Like if like the character that we were like one of the characters that they want you to like empathize with and like engage with and kind of connect yourself to the most in Saul, like you're like, oh, this is good dude. Like you got strong Qui-Gon vibes to him. But it's like
Squid Games did a number on him.
Yeah, it's true.
Jedi Squid Games, nothing to laugh about.
Oh man, that would be. That's what the Jedi Trials are. It's just the Squid Game. Jedi Trials are Squid Game.
They lose so many Padawans that way.
I mean, they're already stealing children, so I mean, you might as well fully lean into being in.
And I know everybody's like, oh, what if that guy's Plagueis? What if that guy is
right?
What I know in Legends, Plagueis was Sidious Master, but it always kind of rubbed me wrong that have you never heard of Plagueis the Wise? Like, oh, you mean your master, the guy you killed off before this? Like, if it's going to be a tale, let's make it generations old.
Right.
Let's slide him back in time.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Or unless maybe like Plagueis is just like a mantle that's like handled down too. That could be like an interesting thing there with that.
I still kind of think this big boss is the other mother with the horns and the ponytail there, whatever her name was.
Oh, May and Osha's other mother? What was her name?
I think she survived this. And
yeah, I can't remember what her name was. But yeah, that could be true too, because I've seen some theorizing that like the way that, I mean, it could just be that Osha's scared because there's someone standing a foot away from her.
Someone lowered from the sky.
Yeah.
Well, and in the flashback tale, we saw the body of what looked like a mother, not both mothers, and we don't know
Right.
which mother.
Which mother?
Yeah. I was
Which-
thinking that
which-
afterwards, like, yeah,
Man.
well done.
But who's on first? But yeah, like that was one of my theory, or it's not really a theory, but like while watching the episode, that scene, I was like, oh, is Darth Bortles here gonna shank Osha in the gut, aka Kylo, to Han style to take her out, and then like this is where we leave Osha, and then all right, now we follow Mae for the rest of this, because now she doesn't want to kill anybody. Now she's gonna be good. So bye Osha, hello Mae, and then that is
Hello, goodbye. Hello, goodbye.
You say hello, I say goodbye, and then that's like that is us following the quote unquote like dark side user from that point on it. But at least as
Maybe
of right
it's
now,
the same
with
person all along.
just-
It's Mae and Osha are the same person.
That theory's out there. I also don't think Mae is supposed to succeed.
Yeah,
I think
like a
she's
patsy.
supposed to die at the hands of the Jedi. And if the Jedi are so big on covering up this dark side user doing these things, they look like they just slaughtered somebody,
Right.
just some citizen, and that makes them more subservient to the Republic.
It's true.
Leverage.
Yeah.
Blackmail.
And well, and with Mae in this, like the scene just before this too, where like she comes upon Kelnaka there, and he's like already looks like he's been like lightsabered,
What?
not
Something
in the gut, but like
around
across,
the gut.
Through the
like
gut.
like a lightsaber C-section.
Whatever that Japanese samurai.
What was it, like something Siku?
Maybe he did it to
Yeah,
himself. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he did it
where
to
it's
himself.
like I know what you're talking about, like the
Yeah,
I
death
think
by
it's
like the ritual
Siku.
suicide.
Yeah, but it's like up into the
Yeah, because you want
Although-
to get damage. You don't want to recover.
yeah.
So that's a possibility that just dawned on me, because that's the one thing I was mad about, was he's like, you get glimpses of this guy and you're like, oh, it's gonna be badass Wookiee Jedi, and dead.
Yeah. Although I guess we should see something with him again, based off unless, I mean, sometimes trailers don't, like, you don't actually see all the stuff you see in a trailer in something. So maybe
Who
we
knows?
don't.
Maybe he's just jumping with his lightsaber to like, crack a coconut or something.
who's to
Maybe
say?
it's Hulk in Avengers when it was really the Hulkbuster armor the whole time.
Oh yeah, running towards the screen there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe we'll see. Maybe we will. I did see that one of the writers from the show said that there was going to be a scene that showed like whoever like came upon Kelnaka and killed them, like to show like this whole kind of battle between Kelnaka and that
Maybe
person.
Basil did it. Maybe Basil's the Dark Lord.
Wouldn't that be crazy if they were the like just, but it's like three Basils standing on top of each other's shoulders.
It's always better if they're standing on each other's shoulders.
Yeah, and it's like he opens up the trench coat, and you see all three of them standing there,
Forming some sort of mega basil.
They'll plug into each other just so.
all right, I'm gonna move on from that. Yeah, so I liked like a lot of the episodes like on location shots they had in here were really great. Like I already brought up kind of like that Fellowship of the Acolyte kind of shot with them all, like walking in the single file there. Now, and we've already kind of talked about if like it is like maybe the dark side user being managed into, maybe that's a red herring, and maybe who else that could be. Yeah,
Be someone we've never seen.
yeah.
That's the
Although I
intrigue
feel like
that they're building. That's
I feel like it's too deep in, because like this is mid-season right here.
Essentially.
So I feel like if it's not already somebody that we haven't seen at this point, that
maybe it's the
could be weird.
The green lady there that we said was the Wayfinder. Yeah.
Burn from.
Or it was Indara the whole time.
I was thinking that too. She's not really dead. She's just. That was the Mae's test if she could.
It was merely a flesh wound.
Yeah. Or it was Agatha all along.
Agatha all along.
She was one of those witches in that coven.
Wow, we are giving the worst theories possible tonight. That's Chewbacca.
That's Disney synergy. That's how you. That's like Patton Oswalt and Parks and Recreation, filibuster stuff where it's like Thanos comes to help Boba Fett as he's clawing his way out of the maw of the Sarlacc pit. He's like, all right, come with me.
Yoda. Yoda's the. This is where he reveals himself.
Well, you had said to me earlier online, Chris, was that that you thought that the Dark Side user with the helmet at the end had like unnaturally long fingers.
I did. In one of the images, it looked like he had kind of longer fingers, and I was thinking they're either inhuman or I have stubby hand, which is possible.
So didn't the Kaminoans have long fingers?
I was also thinking the frog-like Inquisitor had like really weird long fingers like that.
Well,
that's why Grogu ate those eggs. He knew.
It was up. Well, I immediately thought of the ET alien species because aliens got the notoriously long. Well, because
they were in the Senate.
Species, they're in the Senate and the Phantom Menace, and when ET sees that little kid in that Yoda costume, in ET, he
freaks out.
He says home. ET and Elliot have kind of like a forced dyad thing going on there where like they're connected. He's basically using the Force, making that stuff float around. He's got
ET has always been a Star Wars movie. We've cracked it.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, people think that Revenge of the Sith scene that Spielberg directed was the first Star Wars that he directed, but no, actually, E.T. The first Star Wars prequel.
When the galaxy far, far away meets our galaxy and goes awry.
Well, if Star Wars was a long time ago, then E.T. is a far-flung sequel.
How old is E.T.? And then is E.T. from the same planet as Yoda?
Well, we don't know. We actually know nothing about Yoda's species.
I don't know. Where's Grogu from? Yaddle and Yoda.
Yaddle.
She'll never tell.
She can't.
It's true.
She squished. Yeah, she squished that beef.
She's been squished.
Yeah, by Dooku. R.I.P.
Maybe it's Dooku. Maybe this is. It's everybody. It's an amalgamation of everybody. It's just a mist with everyone's faces appearing.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
It's the smoke monster from Lost. That's what it is. It's the smoke monster. It's the man in black. They came in.
Kino Loy. That's why he goes to prison.
He's a good swimmer. But yeah, did you guys have any other theories or anything else you wanted to bring up?
I can make up a bunch of theories. How much time you want to take?
I mean, we're already longer than the actual episode was. But yeah, was there anything else that we didn't bring up that you'd want to bring up before we close out?
No, I feel like we actually, without actually talking about the episode, we talked quite a bit about this episode.
Yeah.
We had fun with it.
I think as we wrap out, like, what would you like to see happen in the next episode, Chris?
Since we're halfway in, it's time to start the long finale, I think, where we're just gonna start climbing and ramping from here.
Nice. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, I want to know the true story from the flashback because I feel like what we saw wasn't it. That's why they showed it to us so quickly. In my mind, that's something amiss about that flashback, and I need Kalnaka to come back and do something of note. I need it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. We'll see.
What about you?
I want to find out in the next episode who Darth Bortles is, like definitively. Because I don't think they need to like keep that a secret anymore at this point.
As long as they do a Scooby-Doo reveal where they pull it off and be like, "Old Man Haggerty."
It was the apothecary.
And I would have gotten away for you if it wasn't for you meddling Jedi.
And your civilian otter, too.
Yeah. Is Kalnaka Scooby-Doo in this equation?
If he is, he's gone.
That's why I'm saying Basil.
All right, yeah. Basil would be Scrappy-Doo. There we go.
Scrappy-Doo.
Basil fits the Scrappy-Doo in this chestnut. Yeah, I would like to. Yeah, I think that's the thing I want to see most in the next episode is just reveal who Darth Bortles is. That's what I'm gonna keep calling him until we find out otherwise that it's not Manny Jacinto. But until then, I just assume that it is.
Do you think he's going to be easily defeated, or is it just going to be like take his helmet off, and be like ha ha ha, and then disappear?
You know how easily you can light a Molotov cocktail with a lightsaber?
Pretty easy.
I guess I don't.
It's a Force Molotov cocktail. Go outside and try it right now, and then report back.
Report back. I need a bottle, a rag, some gasoline, and a lightsaber. I guess.
I can get you most of those things except for the lightsaber.
Unfortunately, all my lightsabers are just LEDs and tubes.
Yeah, but you might be able to like start like an electrical fire from like the battery in it, maybe.
It's got to be combustible enough to light that gasoline rag, kerosene rag, whatever it fills with.
I mean, a barbecue lighter could suffice in the moment.
I think this seems like a good spot to
Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, because I don't know what YouTube's rules are about us trying to tell people how to make a Molotov cocktail.
Fair.
Which
I mean,
so
YouTube used to have beheading videos, so they can chill out.
Well, to segue ahead of that, Chris, where can people find you online? And
I am many places at SPP Toys. That's Shiny Plastic People, mainly on YouTube, where I talk about toys and any other thing that strikes my fancy that week.
Nice.
Excellent.
And then for us, you can find us at HoldoPod.com.
Here. Find us here.
Yeah. Or if you're smart and you can spell maneuver, you can find us at HoldoManeuver.com.
I am not one of those people.
You know, as long as you try. But as always, we are grateful to George Lucas for creating the Star Wars universe.
Oh my, thank the maker.
Bye. Bye.